Okay,
Hello.
good morning.
Morning.
everybody.
Kailangan lakas-lakasan natin yung ating mga boses ngayong araw at malakas ang ulan.
Ang dami na kaagad bumabati sa atin so early.
Magandang umaga sa inyong
Welcome.
lahat. Good morning, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Dito sa Northern Luzon or I think including Central Luzon, halos. And
Napahana.
I think we're now entering our fourth week of rains. You know, para sa marami, parang it becomes an inconvenience. But yet, there are others, it is not an inconvenience. It's a blessing.
We're quite dependent on the rain coming.
The rains are much better than fire.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
So
Still,
we
yes.
just need to understand that there are many things that we make decisions in sa buhay natin. Kunyari, alam nyo, mga dalubhasa ngayon sa climate, sa klima, they have been talking about how in 10 years' time, 20% of many of our coastal areas in the world will sink. That includes our country.
Most of us live pa naman by the
And most of
ocean.
us are
Yeah.
living
Sa
near
coastline.
the coastal areas. 60% ng ating mga bayan nasa coastal areas eh. Ibig sabihin lang nun, kung tayo ay nababahala sa nangyayari ngayon sa ating society na may pandemya, if we don't see or be looking on the future as far as what options that we need to do. In other countries, this early, sinasabi na nila,
Lipat na kayo.
lumipat na kayo.
Oo.
Huwag kayong maghihintay. So, but yet, our topic today is a message of hope. No? But we need to use our God-given intelligence to capacitate ourselves too.
Yes.
Alalahanin nyo, we all listen to advice from one another. We listen to the scientists, we listen to the leadership, we listen to the head of our family, we listen to our educators,
And our spiritual leaders.
our spiritual
Yes.
leaders.
Oo.
This equips us, binibigyan tayo ng kapasidad na gumawa ng desisyon kung ano ang karapat-dapat sa atin. Ngayon, maraming mga bagay that we can learn from the past, yung mga pagkakamali, and yung mga tama na ginawa nila. And then, from there, we should be looking at the situation in a more positive situation na nakikita natin, uy, this setting works, and it works very well. Perhaps we should look into some of the past experiences that work. And also, one thing is, just as we all listen to everybody if we need information, but yet we don't listen to the person who's constantly with us and who owns this whole creation, to whom we are so dependent on. Diba? Ngayon, maulan na maulan, nakikita natin maraming uring mga living beings. Sila ay lumalaki ng husto. Kanina nga papunta ako rito, may nakita ako isang uring puno. Ako, may bulaklak. Ulan na ng ulan for the last 3 weeks. Pero siya namumulaklak. Namumulaklak pa rin siya.
Ang saya niya.
Magana, nagpapakita siya ng saya. Na itong panahon na ganito, marami sa amin okay lang kami nito. Kami
Welcome ang ulan
nakikinabang.
sa kanila.
Kasi minsan tinitingnan lang natin yung elements on our own point of view kadalasan.
Yes. Parang napalakas sa amin, napakasaya nila.
Oo, ang daming napakasaya. Sa totoo lang. Ngayon,
Pati mga lamok, masaya din. Dumadami sila sa kasayahan nila.
Sabagay, dito sa inyo maraming lamok. Sa amin, walang lamok eh.
Marami kasing palakang kumakain sa kanila.
Mas may biodiversity.
Anyway, batiin natin si Clifford. Good morning, Clifford.
Yes, I
Hi.
hope we are all well.
You guys stay safe all the time.
Clifford and Lucille. Yan.
Yeah,
Hello.
Milay. Good morning.
And
Then,
Rose.
Gemini Rose of Iloilo. Yeah, good morning. Alam nyo, sa Iloilo, medyo mataas yung ratio ng inyong lockdown. Naka-ECQ kayo.
Ingat, no?
Ingat, no?
Oo.
Then Nando Teves, sa Zambales kayo kaya malapit din kayo sa malakas na ulan. Kaya binabaha din tayo.
Oo, Western Coast kasi tayo.
We have to stay healthy.
magkasama.
And then you have, you added. No, si Kalindi pala na late. Kala ko
Si Nitz.
bago eh. Yeah,
Good
For
that's-
once, may nauna kay Kalin.
Yun, si Nils from Davao
Yeah.
Davao de Oro.
yes.
Thank
Oh,
God
ingat
we're
kayo
able to
dyan,
attend today. Oh,
Yes.
nga.
happy sila. Oo.
A message of hope all the time. Please,
Yes.
Si
you know,
Matt
let's see.
Resurrection from Cavite.
Good
Lakas ng
morning.
Espiritu, good morning sa inyo.
Oo.
Ben Torres,
Oo.
Paul Dison. Okay,
Oo.
good morning sa
Thomas
inyo
from
lahat.
Thomas from Angeles.
Nagagala kami at kayo, no matter how maulan dito. I know, down south, mainit. Okay?
Oh, sabi na, sunny raw sa Davao de Oro. Sabi niya gano'n ni
Oo.
Nits. Oo.
Anyway,
And Paul Dison also from Angeles City.
so if we look at the situation, as of late, di ba, meron tayong mga atleta
Yes.
na nananalo, di ba, sa Olympics.
Yes.
Oo.
Even in the midst of all of the problems that we are faced with as a society, there are always good news.
Oo naman. Thank you very
Naglilift up
much.
ng ating mga loob. Pero, again, pwede ang ating buhay na magiging, talaga may gaang ng loob dapat eh.
Oo.
Meron tayo dapat ganun eh, nakakayahan
Let's
eh.
look for the lighter side in
Right.
life.
Yes.
Oo.
And they have also lessons to share with us, no, with their life experiences at mga realizations nila sa mga dinaanan nilang mga challenges. Okay? So I'd like to share
Ano yung
At
ating
sino?
boksingero, si Paalam.
si Paalam.
Laban ngayong hapon
Laban
yun.
ngayon.
Oo.
Oh. But let's watch. Can we watch his life story? Mga ito.
Wow, mahaba ba yan?
Hindi buong buhay naman.
Oh, okay.
Short lang. How he started boxing. Okay.
Alright.
Sige.
Sige, tingnan natin.
ABS-CBN.
Motivation to pursue the sport. He was only 6 years old when his parents separated and when he learned to support himself and his family by scavenging in the streets. Life was tough, but boxing made him realize something. People like him can still hope for a better life. In many of his interviews, the Bukidnon-born athlete would fondly recall the first time he ever wore a pair of boxing gloves and headgear. Then 9-year-old Carlo was on his way home from church when he chanced upon a father and son in their neighborhood in Cagayan de Oro in the middle of training. Carlo was asked to spar with a kid. Whoever wins gets a bottle of Coke. With no background in the sport, Carlo was naturally adamant. Siyempre natakot ako, he told Radio Pilipinas. He would get into fights with some kids, yes, but this one was different. His neighbor's son packs a punch. But then, it was hard to say no to a bottle of Coke at age 9, Carlo recalled to Inquirer laughing. Already wearing the boxing gloves and headgear, he had no chance to turn back. That day, he had his first jab at boxing. Nakitaan ako ng tapang. Matapang nga pero dugo-dugo din ang ilong, he recalled to Inquirer. Seeing his potentials in the sport, the said neighbor invited him to join his son's training in boxing. Soon enough, Carlo would join the weekend boxing matches at the park and CDO. Win or lose, he'd be able to take home money, anywhere from 100 to 200 pesos. Malaking bagay na yun kaysa mga lakal ako ng ilang oras, maghanap ng mga plastic, he said. From then on, he stopped scavenging and focused his efforts on boxing. With his earnings from the sport, he got to buy rice for their family. He initially kept his new endeavor a secret from the family. He knew his father Peo Rio Paalam would be against it. Na-encourage akong lumaban dahil sa kahirapan namin, he once said. Gusto kong makatulong sa pamilya kasi kawawa ang mama at papa ko. Kung di ako magsisikap, hindi kami makakakain ng maayos. Ito ang binigay na talent sa akin kaya ito ang ginagamit ko para makatulong sa pamilya ko. Through boxing, he was able to buy things for himself. A Lakers shirt and a pair of slippers were his first purchases. Hindi ako nagchichinelas noon eh, he told Radyo Pilipinas. Sobrang saya ko kasi hindi ako makabili noon eh. A coach was also generous enough to buy him a pair of shoes he could use for the ring.
So as we see, siyempre, dito sa atin, we find that there's so much disparity in in the distribution of the well-being of people.
Oo. Oo.
Previously, we were equipped as a society when things were a lot more conservative for us, where our life, instead of, you know, being in a grind, spending most of our time looking for bread. Di ba? Parang, okay, just to feed our belly.
Kasi dati sa probinsya tayo, no, mas
Right.
simple lamang.
This is something that there's something wrong when situations like the story of our boxer Paalam, what he had to go through. Kumbaga na there is a lack of many things in the society, a lack of support. There's systems normally, but yet the moment there is such pursuit of where our focus is only bread, kumbaga nagbadasal para may tinapay tayong kakainin. Di ba may mga ganun na situation Pero the bread that we pray for is not the bread that's of something that is material. You see, as human beings, the real bread for us that we're after is the bread of life. What is that bread of life? What is that happiness that we should be pursuing? And just so that we can overcome all the different obstacles that we're faced with. Now you can see with Paalam, he did what he had to do as a young boy. You can appreciate yung struggles nila.
And he said that he knew he had the talent and that he could use this talent, to help his family and to, do
It's
something
good to
with
see-
this.
Yeah, it's good to zero in on what you have.
Yeah.
And from that, continue.
And make the best of what you
Yeah,
have.
instead of
Best. Oo.
zeroing on what you don't have.
Yes.
Oo.
Yes,
Yun ang
kasi
magandang nagawa niya.
it keeps you in the more simple perspective and recognizes the difficulty that you have to go through.
It's looking at the positive.
Well, one thing that you appreciate in many of the athletes, mas lalo yung mga atletas natin, laging may pasasalamat sa Diyos.
Yes. Oo.
Pag nakita mo in-interview yung mga ibang atleta sa ibang bansa,
Wala. Halos.
medyo, parang hirap ko to, ginawa ko to, lakas ko to, tiyaga ko to,
Yeah.
ganun ang
They
dating.
take all the credit.
Yeah. But yet, who's the owner of what you have?
Oo.
Who feeds you with everything that you need, So, as we see in life, when we have, as human beings, we should be praying for the true bread too. But you see, with Paalam, there's something that we should never forget. Alam nyo, many years ago, I was in a street children program. We were managing a street children program. And we met so many types of boys in the streets.
Yeah.
Young boys. Difficult situation, And you find, no matter how difficult the setting may be, there would always be something. There will always be something that this person, kumbaga hindi na lang siya iiwanan na forever na. Mas lalo yung mga bata. Kasi ang bata, pag nakakita ka ng bata na wala sa bahay, madumi, pinick up mo sa park, o na-pick up mo rito sa mga ilalim ng bangko ng bus stations ng araw, makikita niya na, wow! Siyempre,
Kailangan gawa ng paraan.
saan ba nanggagaling yun?
Oo. Yeah. You feel for those
You
people.
feel, where is that feeling coming from?
Oo.
So, similarly, in our lives today, faced with so many difficult situations, but yet, we are never without hope. Diba? We're never without hope. We're given this ability and we're given this potential to be able to come up to hear the Lord in our heart. Because He's never away from us.
Oo.
He's always there.
Merong coach talaga tayo throughout life. na
Kaya nga
kasama,
minsan,
no?
kaya sinabi ko na nag-umpisa kanina, minsan, binibigyan natin yung importansya yung mga ganito, yung mga kuro-kuro o adviso sa ganito, to bring us thinking that, okay, this is how we should live in our society. This is how we should function as a society. This is how I contribute. There's no doubt, there's nothing wrong with that. It just gives an order so that we don't end up making mess and creating more trouble in our society.
Yes.
There has to be law and order. But yet at the same time, when we are not seeing the clear direction of what we're doing. Then now we're faced with this pandemic.
O eto na naman tayo, may ECQ na naman.
Yeah,
Oo.
you will see.
Worse
Yes.
pa.
Last year we were
Worse.
talking
Ang
about balik
dami-dami
probinsya.
ng may sakit. Oo.
The government was talking about balik probinsya. Ilabas natin yung mga tao na hindi natin kaya alagaan na. But in doing so, we forgot about that component. So, as leaders in the leadership program, we should be looking into, hey, we have to prepare our society to be resilient for such situations. No? There has to be that. So you won't have stories of the boxer paalam.
Yeah.
Because that's a measure of our pagkukulang as a society, as leaders, as people who, kumbaga yung mga successful sa atin, di ba? And you can
Pero
see the
it's-
extremes of things,
Oo.
you know?
Bakit yung bata naging scavenger at such a young age,
Yeah.
no? And that he had to earn money to feed the family.
Yeah,
no?
which
Di
should
ba?
be the parents doing this,
Oo.
no? Trying,
But yet, because of the given setting,
oo.
kumbaga, we were not able to give the quality that we could have given such a person because the nature of caring doesn't choose it. It's for everybody. We're given that as a human being. Not only limited to caring for one another or our family, but we have to care for everybody else.
Right.
Well, when you see somebody, a story like that, you begin to go, wow, what happened?
Oo.
Where are we lacking?
Oo.
What are kumbaga, shortcomings of our society?
Oo.
You know, we have religious leaderships. We have all types of leadership, corporate leaderships. Ang dami niyan big businesses. But yet, you will find in a country where we live, for example, kami nga kung saan kami nakatira, we live in one of the most marginalized communities. Kasi dito pag kayo ay nakatira sa may hillside o bulbundukin na lugar, kadalasan dyan, yung resources dyan, medyo kulang.
Oo.
Nagkukulang. Ngunit
Sa
makikita
kuryente
nyo,
and tubig, kulang talaga
yung mga tao, no
facilities.
matter what. Because there is a semblance of a tribal thing.
Nagtutulungan.
Nagtutulungan
Community
sila.
Oo.
But yet, at the same time, what caused their difficulty is their own doing. They didn't take care of the natural resources. They did not look future-wise.
Yeah, they're
Kumbaga,
only looking at the immediate
the immediate need.
Oo.
So this is where real education comes in. Showing models, showing whatever needs to be done, So we have to, like now, with this pandemic, this is our third lockdown. We find people are just saying, no matter what, you will see in the news, people in the traffic, they're going to go work.
Yeah.
Oo,
Oo.
They have to work.
Oo.
But that is their sacrifice because they care for others.
Oo.
That's what drives them.
Oo.
Siyempre, with that, there's fear. There's so many components to it. But yet, when every individual going through the traffic in a motorcycle, in a car, in a truck, pag nakikita nyo sa news, lahat sila sinisita sila, check lahat ng kanilang purpose. And why? Going to the inconveniences, making the sacrifices that they need to do. Para sa kapakanan ng sarili nilang pamilya at saka sa kapakanan ng society. Kasi
Yes.
pag ako'y nagtrabaho, hindi lang para sa pamilya ko Maraming makikinabang
Oo. Lalo
See?
na yung mga frontliners. di
It's
ba?
a nature of
Oo.
caring. It's a nature of caring that everybody has, given the right choices. But even if the situation is not so, the inconvenience is there, but still, people will continue on. You see, there's always that guiding light in the person's heart. Yeah, this is something that you need to do. And when you do this, you make the sacrifices. There's so much gain to it. Yun ang kagandahan
So
No?
everybody is going through extra challenges,
Yes,
in life. And talaga namang everybody has to make decisions based on wisdom. Kung ano
Yes.
yung talagang
Yes.
And some people, kaya parang sabi ni Alam, nung lalaban siya, nung maliit siya, natatakot siya, at saka bust nga yung kanyang nose, no? Pero sabi niya, kahit natatakot siya, tinanggap niya yung challenge, no? So people really have a fear, like even the nurses and the doctors in the
Oh
hospital,
yeah,
they have
their
this
fears,
fear
of course.
every time they go to work na baka tamaan sila ng COVID, but they overcome that fear, and they still do their service as best as they can.
Yeah,
The beauty about it is, okay, go ahead. Sige.
well, I just wanted to point out because there are people who really now they can't go beyond themselves. They're thinking about their own situation because they're already depressed, di ba? Kasi we were already at a point na, wow, we're thinking, yes, okay na tayo. We got vaccines, we can go out already. And then eto na naman. No? So, some people are really depressed, but, you've heard of Stephen Hawking. He's a very famous physicist who at the he was an adult already. He suddenly became sick with a neurological disease, and he ended up stuck to a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Okay, but even then he continued, living his life, and then later on,
He was only given 2 years.
yeah, he's
When
given
they
2
found
years
out
to
his
live, but
disease.
he didn't give up, And then later on, nagkaroon pa siya ng, I think he had a stroke. So he even lost the power of speech, which was the only way he was communicating. And his wife found a way to um, have him express his thoughts using technology. Yeah. So he was very famous, for his black hole theory. And one day he told, he's always receiving awards. And he said to his audience one time, he said, if you feel like you're in a black hole, remember, that's how it feels, right? If you are depressed, you feel like in a black hole, wala ka ng pag-asa. Sabi niya, don't give up. There is a way out. No? And what is that way? Diba? If there is a will, there is a way. So it's in our will, in our thoughts, the way we see things. Yeah. Thoughts are very powerful. If you have the right thoughts, you have developed, the proper way of seeing things, then there's always a way out. Yeah.
Yes.
When you have bad thoughts that just take you deeper into this black hole, then these are things that we have to take control of and take away, weed it out and see the light. Just like that example of paalam nga, no? Nagkaroon siya ng mabigat yung problema niya and he was so young. But he tried to find a way out.
Yeah.
And there is actually a way out for each of us. you know.
Yes.
We have the power and we have the ability to control our thoughts.
Actually, sinabi ng isang dakilang sage, sabi ni Rupa Goswami, na there's one thing in life that dapat bawal na bawal for a person is to be hopeless. Yun daw ang bawal na talagang wag natin ever gawin yon, maging hopeless. No?
Sa ating sarili. Kasi
oo.
meron paraan eh. Kailangan mag-reach out tayo. Kung hindi tayo mag-reach out, paano malalaman ng iba na kailangan natin ng tulong? Diba? You'll always find somebody to help you. Tignan mo yung si Paalam, that man, who helped him. Diba?
Oo.
That was the start of the change in his life.
He might not have been greatly motivated by the right things in the
Yes, but
beginning,
it's a step, we take one step at a time.
He was just, sige, I'll take the challenge and sige, do it, and then nag-move on naman siya from that point. Meron pang mga nag-share sa atin, no? Si Tita, no? Sabi niya, from Santiago City, doon daw ay naku, tuyo na yung mga bukid nila dahil kulang sa ulan. Okay. And sabi niya, dito sa amin, matagal na walang ulan. Sabi naman ni Henry, hoy, good morning. Harry. Sorry.
Good morning, Harry.
And Janet Paredes, our good friend, says, good morning,
nice
go Palakas.
Have Janet here.
Janet is one of our friends who's really working to encourage people, no, to become more, to surmount the challenges in life. She and her friends in their group, the Philippines, are trying to help a lot of people
doing really nice work.
become more hopeful and do positive things, di ba? And sabi rin ni Dina, good morning, Mary. Greeting us also. Sabi ni Ananda, parents are fortunate to have a son like Carlo, caring and helpful. Ayun, no? Kasi hindi naman inisip, itong perang to, akin lang. They always think, paano nila matutulungan yung ibang tao. Kahit naman si Heidelin nagpagawa rin ng gym, di ba?
Oh,
For
yan,
weight,
to help the others.
She was also helping the children in her area. And our friend Bear is watching from Zambales, and also Ligaya Dizon and Mat Resurrection. Support subordinates as one's own children. Ayun. And from San Mateo Rizal, Catrino Resurrection. Okay. Ayan, sabi ni Catrino, frontliners, farmers also are always in a precarious condition with the climate change destroying their crops and the pandemic threat. Frontliners rin talaga naman ng farmers, hindi ba, in food production to feed our people.
Yes.
We all share. Kasi ganun, that's our nature eh. Yun nga. Kumbaga may abilidad at talino kasi.
We have a role.
We all have to play our role.
Yes.
We have been in the society where we live in. Everybody has something to pitch in.
Yes.
But what's important for us also is to be able to see. Kasi minsan, we're only seeing our own future eh. Or the shortness of what we're seeing. And so that we end up using all of the resources that are vital for most of us. Right now, with the pandemic, nakikita natin as a whole of society, what's the difficulty as national leaderships are encountering right now is the amount of resources that we have left.
Konti na, no?
Kulang.
In the red na nga tayo.
Alalahanin nyo, 60 years ago, nagkaroon ng digmaan sa buong mundo. Now, but then, population was still small,
Yes.
resources was still vast.
They could survive.
They can rebuild.
People were giving them food.
Yeah.
Oo, yung mga nag-escape, ganon, binibigyan sila ng pagkain.
Yes, there was always a means because there was simplicity in the way people live
Yes.
at that time. And people live as community, not as just individuals. So, this is something for us to look at. Ito nga yung mga lessons learned. How did they survive after a big war? Now, our war is
Tulungan
different.
lahat
Pandemic eh. Ang kalaban natin nga rito, hindi hindi yung bansa naglaban eh. Ang kalaban natin dito, hindi buhay eh, yung virus.
Oo nga, naku.
But
Maliit.
still,
Pero
napaluhod tayo lahat sa mundo.
Oo. Grabe, no? Grabe what it could
Pero
do.
tingnan niyo yung statement na yan, napaluhod. Ba't ka luluhod?
Surrender tayo.
Hindi
Pray
ka
tayo.
surrender
Pray,
doon
pray.
sa ano.
Why?
Hindi.
Surrender tayo
Lumuhod
kay
ka na.
Lord.
Ano ba
Oo.
yun?
Kay Lord, tayong surrender.
Oo, yes.
Mila has a very nice message here for us. If you cannot do great things, do small things in a great way.
Wow,
Yes.
that's very nice.
So many. We have to contribute somehow. See, the moment a person has been gifted that day, if there's a contribution, small or big, it doesn't matter. But it is the caring that matters.
It's the intent, not
The
to
intention,
help others.
and that brings you life.
Sabi,
So it counters the hopelessness.
yes.
Oo.
Sabi nga ni Vina, life is about accepting challenges along the way and choose to keep moving forward. Thank you for the enlightening topic.
Oo. Let's always move toward the light.
Sa
Keep
liwanag.
going. Oo, keep
Don't
going.
stop, don't keep stagnant. Kumbaga,
Yes.
na-stuck ka, doon ka na lang.
Kumbaga, as the saying goes, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Oo.
Yun ang hanapin natin.
Oo.
Let's greet Miguel Vargas from Dolompinas. Good morning.
And the
Miguel.
Mainigo tribe.
Well, I
Okay.
hope you're all well.
So Arnold Dunca is listening in. Uy, Cynthia Merga is greeting us. And Dixie has a lot to share. Ang ganda po ng topic today. Siguro po one of the secrets to our indomitable spirit is our ability to smile despite difficulties, our sense of humor. But beneath the laughter and our sense of humor are our family, community, and most importantly, our unwavering faith in the Almighty Father that helps us rise above disasters and crises.
Yes. Ay, yung smile ha, importante yan. In traditional Chinese medicine, if you're smiling, then your chi, your energies are flowing. Pag nakasimango tayo, naku, wala na, hindi na makaka-flow na. Diyan tayo magkakasakit.
Stagnant na yung chi.
Yes.
Parang
Oo.
we're really stuck there. Yeah. Ito naman, sabi ni Haridas, Harbol, my friends, And namaste, when we discover the whole truth about COVID-19 and the lockdowns, uh, then we can make wise decisions about how to best look after our family and the health of the people everywhere. Do adequate research and you will find out that COVID-19 is very, very easy to cure with natural medicines. Having a vaccine that has only been tested and trialed for 6 to 12 months before being released around the world is not safe and not adequately trialed, and also 99. Okay. So, meron tayong point here about, the different vaccines. Like some of them do produce blood clots and everything, but there are also vaccines that are
Helpful.
using the traditional way of making vaccines, like the regular flu vaccine. So it's a matter of researching kung ano po yung less risky, versus kasi yung pag nagka-COVID, at least ma-lessen yung severity, no,
You know,
ng
Yeah, I
impact.
personally went
Oo.
and got vaccinated.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing though is, kasi in a society nga, pag kumpul-kumpul kayo, what is your choice?
Yun nga, madaling magpasahan.
Yeah,
Yung
what is your choice and what is your
transmission,
protection?
oo.
So we have to consider many factors here.
Oo.
Now, not everybody, like in our country, the population is close to 60% is living in the urban center already. Makonti na lang yun sa countryside. Ang mga countryside people, kadalasan, nakikita ninyo sa mga datas na yung mga tao na sa bundok. Wag lang doon sa maliliit nilang parang syudad na sitio, kadalasan yung may sakit nandun.
O kung saan
Kasi
nakakumpol ang
madaling
tao.
maghawa
Oo.
na eh. And remember, it's a type of it's not alive.
Oo.
It's looking for a host.
Oo.
So tayo yung cells natin yung host. So kaya nga yung sistema maghugas, all of these things are being taught na dati tinitake natin for granted. Ngayon, napaka-importante na sabon at maghugas. Di ba? Ganun ngayon. Eh.
Alcohol.
Oo, but nung araw, hindi natin parang, ba't ba natin gagawin yan? So, but one has to understand that, when you live in a more natural environment, you are being equipped, physically equipped with that parang in nature. May COVID ba yung mga puno at mga ibon?
Our bodies are actually very wonderful creations.
Di ba? Ang
and the way
dami-dami ng
tayo
mga halaman
fight
sa
things,
gubat na
oo.
nagkukumpul sila napakarami, but within the gubat are their own medicines to keep them
Oo.
protected.
May balance kasi.
May
yun.
balance.
Oo.
But yet tayo, nakita, pag ikaw ay nakatira sa may gubat, mahirap ang buhay ng nasa gubat. Hindi mo may hindi. Sa totoo lang, in nature, we have the means. Kasi, where are people seeking the medicines? It's still in the natural systems.
Yeah, now meron na. Sorry, I don't know if this is a bit digressing, but they did find in nature in Mount Mayon new bacteria, 16 types, which are actually going to help us fight the diseases that are
We are encountering. Recently,
No.
Yeah,
this
that
past
are
week.
already
Alam nyo,
parang
ang
hindi
daming
na kaya
ganito
ng
sa atin
antibiotic, no?
all we need to do is to,
For nature
okay,
pa rin eh.
kasi alam nyo, if we live in the city nga, hindi ba kadalasan, we're all dependent on food, water, everything.
Yeah.
We're dependent on being supplied to us. So the resources that we have is so limited. But since we don't have a choice, tanggapin na natin kung anong meron dyan. Di ba? Nasanay tayo na ganun. So we have to look into another perspective sa buhay natin. Oops, how long are we going to continue doing what we're doing right now? Is the question.
Ayun ang sabi nung kaibigan mo, let us not go back to the old normal.
Yes.
Di ba?
Oh yeah, we have to get a better normal.
Palitan yung old normal na yan.
May Zoom meeting nga kami dito sa aming liderato sa atin, sa aming probinsya. Andun yung governor, andun yung mga liderato, heads of the society here. Sinabihan ko, babalik ba tayo sa old normal?
Oo.
Kasi ito yung nadatnan natin eh. Ito yung inabot natin sa old normal.
Oo, ibahin na natin.
So baguhin natin ang
It led us to problems.
baguhin natin yung
oo.
tema kasi inubos natin yung resources natin. Pag naubos natin yung ating mga resources na nagbibigay sigla sa ating katawan at sa ating isip, para tayo makatugon ng malinaw ang ating pag-iisip. Kasi may paraan naman yan eh.
Yes.
There are always there's a means for us to be able to find the right balance to live our life. Di ba? May ganun eh.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
And hindi tayo dapat mawalan ng pag-asa.
Oo.
Okay?
Yeah, there's always a way.
Can I just greet Maridet is joining us for the show.
Hello,
Yes, our
Maridet.
friend from NADA. Meron nga meeting tayo with them, sina Janet, and one of the people I just remember very distinctly said, when I look at the challenges of other people, my own challenge seems very small.
Yes.
Di ba? Parang ang laki naman parang minsan pinapalaki natin yung problema nila, pero yung iba, mas malaki po yung mga problema nila.
For sure, that person is a very kind heart.
Yes. Miguel Vargas says that the coastal cleanup sila. And Muriel is saying, hello from Parañaque, fully vaccinated daw. Go, go, go. Oo.
Alam nyo, as of late,
Mm-mm.
tag-ulan eh. Hindi tanim kami ngayon ng tanim.
Mm.
Naghahanap pa kami ng mga bundok na matatamnan eh.
Kulang na yung tatanim.
Kumbaga tanim pa kami ng tanim. Pati ang aming mga liderato sa ibang sektor, tatawag sa akin, Toby, meron ba tayong mga extrang puno dyan? Kasi nabigla kami lahat dahil
Biglang naging
the last 3
ulan.
years wala kaming
Oo.
masyadong mainit eh. Walang
Ayun
ulan.
naman, so,
Lakihan ng mga puno pag
So
nakatanim.
ngayon, habol na ng habol. So, I was meeting with my staff this morning, yung mga farmers. Sabi ko, look, nakatanim na tayo ng palay. Lahat ng space na pwedeng tamnan ng palay, tamnan natin ng pagkain.
Wow, yes.
Sabi ko,
Production.
Tapos ngayon, mga fruit trees
Fruit
naman,
trees,
tinatanim
lahat
natin.
naman, tsaka bungang kahoy, itanim natin lahat kasi lahat ng mga dating mga bundok na punong-puno ng mga halamanan, yung mga natural forest, kinat eh. Naubos kasi eh.
Kasi
So ngayon,
ginagawa
lahat
nilang
ng mga
coal.
ganitong uring bundok, sabi ko, lika, tanim lang tayo ng tanim. Alam nyo, if you are looking for the future, we have to pinpoint it, to be very realistic in how we see things. We cannot just be
Yes.
right now, sige, may problema tayong ganito, hinaharap natin na ganito, ang ating society, ganito ang naharap, ito yung struggles natin. Ang daming components kasi maraming mga bagay, nilayo natin sa sarili natin buhay. Sa pagkain, sa tubig. Alam nyo ngayon, ang dami-dami ang tubig, pero how much of that water, these things we don't even think about it.
Hindi natin nasa-save.
We don't save the water.
Natapon.
Ang daming tumatapon na tubig. Papunta ako rito kanina, bumabagsak yung mga bundok ngayon eh.
Oo nga.
Landslide na.
But yet,
Clear pa sila nung daan.
nakikita niyo, we have to
pass.
do something. We all have to wake up to the reality that, how can I be able to function not only for the given situation that we're faced with as a society, but how can we be future looking? What else do we need to do? Diba? What can we do? Well, how can we be of help not only to one or two, but in the society in general?
Yeah.
What do we do? What do we need to do? These are challenges that we have to face ourselves, di ba? Depending on your position and what we can do in the society itself and how we can contribute.
Meron mga bumati si Leonor Asido, sabi niya abundant blessings. So sa morning show natin. Okay?
Si Miguel
And
nga nagsabi, Miguel, yes, the way to go.
Coastal cleanup.
Coastal cleanup.
Yes, cleaning the
Okay.
beaches.
Naku, lalo
Kahit
ngayon, makalat
kahit
sa
pandemic,
beach.
pwede pa rin maglinis.
Yes.
Oo.
Si Angel din from Dasma, Cavite. Naku, maraming cases tayo dyan sa Cavite. And J Resurrection, a pleasant day to go Palakas. Thank you very much to all our listeners. But before we end, can I just share one more video from our stories about people who have hope and who have the desire to surmount their challenges in life. This is a story of a very young girl, 13-year-old British medalist in the Olympics in the event of skateboarding. She usually puts in her site na very positive messages and very encouraging words to people who are following her YouTube channel. But this time, meron siyang accident na dinaanan, which was just last year, May 2020, where she suffered a fracture in the skull, lacerations in her lungs and in her stomach, and also broken wrist and hand. So this is our medalist, young 13-year-old Sky Brown. Okay.
I don't usually post my falls or talk about them because I want people to see the fun in what I do. But this was my worst fall. And I just want everyone to know that it's okay, don't worry, I'm okay. It's okay to fall sometimes. And I'm just gonna get back up and push even harder. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world right now. But I want everyone to know that whatever we do, we're just gonna do it with love and happiness.
Yes, and now she's a gold medalist.
Not gold,
Bronze.
bronze lang
Bronze,
siya.
okay.
Oo.
Well, she's got a golden heart. I think she
Yeah,
still deserves the
right.
gold. In that way, no?
Tsaka whatever you
What
do,
a nice
sabi niya,
message.
do it with love and happiness. No? So very,
Again, you go deep.
And that was just a year
Yeah.
ago. Huh?
And
Yeah,
that
yeah,
child,
so
kikita niya yung
amazing.
innocence ng bata.
Yes, very powerful
Simple.
message from her.
Simple. Oo.
You see, sometimes when we kind of get mature, nahililimutan natin yung simplicity sa buhay natin.
At saka
This is something.
meron din siyang tinatrabahuan at her young age, an NGO. No, may NGO siya tinutulungan sa mga Cambodia. And this NGO is
What a nice
Skatistan, non-profit organization that empowers kids through education and skating. You know? So meron
Very
siyang
nice.
compassion talaga na gusto
Oo.
niyang tumulong sa mga ibang tao.
That was very brave of her to film that experience.
Yeah. And at that time in the hospital,
Yeah.
she had the fractured skull and then
Oo.
she went through really difficult, serious injuries. No?
Yes, kaya
Wonderful.
there's always a message of hope and forgiveness.
Oh, hope, yes.
Hope.
Tayong mawalan
Huwag
pag-asa.
tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa. This is something that we have been gifted with. And we have that ability to be able to connect from within.
Yes.
Sometimes when it's this yung disconnection ba, when there's some imbalances in the way we live and the way we see life as it is. And that's when we come to terms when things are not working right. We struggle with it. But yet we can be living our life transcending all of these struggles in this world. Because by nature, we are spirit.
Yes.
You know, we're not material. We're not our bodies. So when we learn to live and connect to that which is eternal, living temporarily in this world, but yet with eternity in our actions, and feeling the presence of the Lord in our heart, and then
Who is our supreme friend? And, who
and it's
cares
always
for
going to
all
be
of
there to
us,
protect
yung
us.
iba,
Protector,
supreme
you know.
friend, best friend.
There's so
Yes,
many
best
uncertainties living in this world. This is the nature of the world we live in. It's temporary. So maraming bagay na nangyayari. But hindi tayo pwedeng mabahala at mawala ng pag-asa. So it's a message of hope to everybody. Always pray, meditate, you know, pray as a family, pray as an individual,
Yes.
by yourself, and have your solitude. You know.
Yes.
So take care and mag-iingat kayo palagi. And then, kaya nga sabi natin palagi, take care. Diba?
Yes.
To be always caring for others too. All right.
And know how to receive the care also. Others
Maraming
give
salamat.
us.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Go
See you
toward the
next
light.
Saturday. See you.
Pangkalusugan, pangkalikasan, go Palakas! Hari ko